Did you know Pete Vendors is one of the most prolific Magic artists? With over 280 card illustrations, Pete Vendors started illustrating for Magic in 1993 and created his last piece in 2011. Best known for illustrating goblins, vampires, and demons, a whopping 60% of Pete's illustrations were done for cards with red or black mana costs. Pete Vendors' involvement within Magic wasn't only in illustrations. From Alliances through Urza Saga, Pete was part of the continuity team and helped develop card titles and flavor text for all the cards of that period. He also wrote nearly every art description. One of the tasks he set for himself was to map the world of Dominaria, piecing together everything known thus far into a cohesive globe. One of the changes Pete made was reducing the original size of Dominaria from 30 times the size of Earth to 2.5 times. The reason was Wizards of the Coast wanted to publish a Magic role-playing game, and they needed to make the size of Dominaria feasible for players to travel across. However, the role-playing game was canned in late 1995, yet the size of the planet remained the same. It took over 10 years for Magic to finally complete the first official Magic block with its final set, Cold Snap, released in July 2006. In that set, Pete illustrated one of its most iconic characters, Zur the Enchanter. This legendary human wizard became a favorite among Commander players thanks to its synergy with enchantments. But it wasn't just his playability that made him such a popular card. Zur the Enchanter had a storied history in Magic's lore, and to finally have the character available to play was a treat for many longtime fans. Before working for Magic, Pete made his first ever trip to the US to attend the Philadelphia Comic Fest in October 1993, where he intended to network with art directors for comic books and role-playing games. His primary goal was to meet with the art director for White Wolf, Richard Thomas, as they were publishing the hottest RPG of the time, Vampire the Masquerade. However, it took several days at the show before Pete was able to catch Richard, who was busy talking to another art director. Pete waited until he could ask to schedule a portfolio review, but Richard said, "We're both art directors, you can show us both right now." The other art director? Jesper Meerfors, Magic's first art director. 2 weeks later, Pete was working on Magic while White Wolf never called him back. However, Pete did get to work on some of White Wolf's intellectual properties. After finishing his first wave of commissions for Magic, Wizards of the Coast assigned 26 cards to Pete for another game they were publishing called Jihad, which was based on the Vampire the Masquerade universe. This card game would later be renamed to Vampire the Eternal Struggle to strengthen its branding to the main role-playing game. Wizards eventually abandoned the game. Pete's first assignments for Magic were actually for 3 sets simultaneously, Antiquities, Legends, and the Dark. This clumping of assignments was very unusual, and was due to Wizards having to adapt quickly to their unexpected runaway success. The first Magic piece Pete painted was Mightstone, an artifact from Antiquities. Pete felt it was a simple piece and a good way to get up to speed on the project. Pete's other works from Antiquities were Circle of Protection artifacts, Gaia's Avenger, Orcus Mechanics, Rocket Launcher, and Sage of Latnam. If you look over all of Pete's card illustrations, you will notice that he has never featured an angel on a single card. The only time Pete actually ever drew one for an official Magic project was on a binder cover printed in 1995. This cover featured a wizard surrounded by 5 creatures that best represented their color. For white, it was Sarah Angel. Shortly after working on that binder cover, Pete was commissioned to create 6 flyers, 1 for each color, and artifacts. Unfortunately, these flyers were never released as the assignment was lost during the transition period of Jesper Meerfors leaving Wizards and Sandra Everingham taking his place. One of Pete's favorite works is Tanglewalker. The creative team for Darksteel let a handful of artists create 3 creature card images from scratch. The only prerequisite was that they should look like they belonged in Mirrodin. R&D would then develop a card to match the art. Pete chose to illustrate a dryad mostly because he rarely gets assigned to create elegant, beautiful creatures, and he figured in a world full of metal trees, there had to be a metal dryad. Pete's favorite color in Magic is black. Out of the over 80 unique illustrations of cards with black mana in its casting cost, one of them is by far his most popular, Baron Sengir. Printed in the much maligned Homelands, the Vampire became an instant classic hit. Was it because the card was extremely powerful? No. It was mostly due to the Vampire's art and flavor. Besides black, Pete has had several notable cards in other colors. For green, Pete is probably best known for the art on Survival of the Fittest, a powerhouse card and brutal look into the life of Maw goblins. Goblins have always been a hallmark of Pete's work, both in Magic and other trading card games. One of his most popular goblin illustrations is the unglued goblin token. We've asked Pete why this is the case, and he believes it's due to simplicity. The Stark image shows just a full-figure goblin giving the viewer a "come at me bro" gesture. Unglued was the first time Magic printed official token cards, and also the first time they made cards with full-frame images. Another one of Pete's goblin illustrations that has been a fan favorite among competitive and casual players alike is Kiki Jiki, Mirror Breaker. This legendary Aki was a top pick in competitive standard decks when Champions of Kamigawa was legal, a staple in Splinter Twin and Birthing Pod combo decks in Modern, and a powerful general and commander. When Kiki Jiki was originally assigned, the art description told of an Aki spellcaster summoning an illusion of a larger monster. Pete first sketched that monster as one of Kamigawa's ogres, but when he got the sketch review, they asked for the ogre to be replaced by a dragon. That's when Pete knew it was a rare card, because R&D doesn't say, "please add a dragon" for any old card. This was Did You Know Magic Pete Venters by Vorthos Mike. Hopefully we can talk about another artist soon.